away from home, but still need to fulfill the needs of your family. You make your family happy by showing them love. Always listening to them and by making each member feel content and safe. What's paid does not require cash or cards. Enabling efficient, secure transactions no matter where you are in the world. What's Pay helps you to prioritize your family. You can send digital currencies easily, quickly, and safely with a few taps of your fingers. While all is under control, there's more time for playing around. Distance means nothing when someone means everything. Make every moment special with What's Pay.
Just like physical money, digital currencies are fungible, meaning that they can be traded or exchanged from one to another. To make it simple, one Bitcoin or BTC is always equal in value to another BTC. This fungibility characteristic makes digital currency suitable as a secure medium of transaction in a digital economy. NFTs, or non-fungible token, shift the crypto paradigm by making each token unique and irreplaceable, making it impossible for one non-fungible token to be equal to another. They are digital representations of assets and have been likened to digital passports because each token contains a unique, non-transferable identity to distinguish it from another token. They are also extensible, meaning you can combine one NFT with another to breed a third unique NFT. Much of the current market for NFTs is centered around collectibles, such as digital artwork, sports cards, and rarities. Perhaps the most hyped space is NBA Top Shot, a place to collect NFT tokenized NBA moments in digital card form. Some of these cards even sold for millions of dollars. And if we remember the phenomenal Jack Dorsey's of Twitters, where he wrote just setting up my Twitter and then got sold 2.9 million US dollar. So why are NFTs important? Will this be considered finance system consisting of sophisticated trading and loan systems for different asset types, ranging from real estate to lending contract to artwork? And will NFTs be a step forward in the reinvention of this infrastructure? My name is Francisca, What's Pay Vice President of PR and Communications, and your host tonight on What's Pay Spotlight, the evolutions of NFTs. So in this episode, we'll deep dive into the evolutions of NFTs, starting from understanding NFTs, the basic of NFTs, like how to create, what are the types, and what are the use cases. So before we begin the session, it's always great pleasure to me to introduce and sharing the stage with these two gentlemen. So we have Stas Madorsky.
Hey, Fran, how are you again?
Oh, good, Stas. All right. So short about Stas, if people doesn't know Stas has 14 years of experience in marketing across both B2C and B2B, including at P&G. He advises multiple much hyped digital currency projects. And in his spare time, you will see him rocking dance floor as the internationally renowned DJ duo Rev Republic. Stas, welcome back to What Space Spotlight. And
Always
then
happy to be
we
here.
thank you, Stas. And then we have special guest tonight, which is also What's Pay Partners. So he's the CMO of Tocoin and also Frontera advisor. So Andrew Riyadi,
Hi everyone.
hi. Well,
What's up,
warm
guys?
welcome to What's Pay Spotlight. So, short about Andrew. Andrew is a diversified investor with experience in various blockchain, advertising, social, and entertainment business. So, he currently the CMO of Tocoin and also an advisor to Frontera. He is also an NFT enthusiast and a managing partner of NFT funds. So, we really have um, complete speaker and is going to be a very resourceful for NFT topic tonight. Andrew and Stas, welcome to What Space Spotlight, the evolution of NFTs.
Thanks
So
for having me.
yes, so this is a ritual. Like every time before we begin the session in every episode. So I'm going to ask you two questions. So first questions will be tell us again what is your name, and then the second question is hopefully this is related to NFT. Have you ever been mistaken for someone famous? If it's not, who would you like to be mistaken for? Maybe I would like to go to Andrew first.
Yeah, so hi guys, my name is Andrew Reddy. I'm currently the CMO of Tocoin and also an advisor to Frontera. As you guys know, Frontera is actually co-invested by both Tocoin and WhatsApp. So very happy to be here sharing more about Frontera to the community of WhatsApp. I think this is the very first time that I'm able to kind of reconnect and connect to your community as a whole. So yeah, so the question about have I been mistaken for someone famous? I don't know. I've quite maybe that is quite a hard question actually. Um, who
If
have
you have
I been
never,
mistaken?
then who would like you to be mistaken for?
Nah, I don't think I ever mistaken for anyone. But yeah, if I don't think I want to be anyone beside myself. I'm pretty content with who I am.
Nice,
So
right. I love the
yeah.
spirit. Okay, we can. All right, Stas. Yeah, your
Yeah,
turn.
it's always intimidating sharing the stage with Andrew. He's just too handsome, so he kind of that's why he doesn't want to be mistaken for anyone else.
I love the spirit. I love the spirit. All
So,
right.
have I ever been mistaken for a celebrity? I am a celebrity, of course. No, but when I go to Japan, I've been mistaken for literally everyone from Justin Bieber, David Beckham, the guy who played Luke Skywalker. It's insane. I don't think I look like any of them, though.
Interesting. So glad to having you two here. All right. So back to the theme, where is the evolutions of NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So we are broadcasting live globally, and then there's a couple of audience over here that might really understand, expert about what is NFT. But I believe, because I'm representing the audience, I believe that there's some audience who wants to start learning or probably have zero knowledge about NFT. So for the interest of audience, maybe you could, try to explain on the fundamental, like a basic things, the understanding about NFTs, how to create or to buy, what is the type. So yeah, so we have Stas, which is from blockchain-based payment, and then we have Andrew, who's also an NFTs investor. So yeah, maybe we can explain a little bit about the fundamental of understanding NFT. Andrew?
Yep. So yeah, thanks for that, friend. So I think NFT itself is an evolution on how we see blockchain technology actually evolve, right? So it's actually an expansion of utility and use case itself. So what it does is actually it imprints a digital identity to a certain token that it can become something very unique, which is non-fungible, right? So the most recent and the most hype one would probably the introduction of NFT would be the social project profile picture of moments that you kind of in like you kind of ingrain to the token itself so that it's become a special thing, one of a kind, like we see the Bored Ape Yacht Club and we see the NBA Top Shot. So all this is collectibles, right? So at the end of the day, the NFT technology, I think, is just to kind of solidify ownership platform. So this can be in terms of real estate in the future. I mean, real estate, it could be a picture of an art. We see a lot of people, famous artists, even release art on the NFT platform itself, right? So to answer again how your question to buy or to actually create, actually it's very simple to create an NFT. You can actually go on OpenSea, the biggest marketplace out there. They do have the functions to actually create an NFT, attach an image or attach an identity to that NFT or that token per se. And to purchase, there's lots of layer ones, even the likes of Clayton, the likes of Ethereum, Solana, Near, even Luna has one NFT, and all the layer one can actually become an NFT platform, right? So, but the most famous one and probably the one that take it off would be the Ethereum one. So those are the ones that you actually see on OpenSea. To purchase it, of course, you need the native tokens itself. But I think OpenSea right now, they do open up a lot of other avenue for other tokens that you can use to purchase those NFTs from the collection that you desire. So I think the NFT itself, the space is evolving. We see a lot of DeFi platform in the NFT, from collateral loans, using the NFTs itself to kind of use as collateral, like how we use our real estate certificate for our collateral to the bank, right? So it's going that direction. I hope that gives kind of a layman term of what NFT is.
Layman, yeah. Okay, thanks, Andrew. Now we are going to Stas. Stas, maybe you have basic fundamental things about understanding about NFT.
Yeah, I think Andrew's answer was very comprehensive. The one thing I will add is I think there's a misconception that NFTs generally are just a piece of art or ownership over something that's a creative work. But at the end of the day, if we break it down, a blockchain is just an accounting system. That's all it is. So NFTs are really the proof of identity, like a certificate, like you would get when you buy a watch or anything. Ultimately, it can never be changed in terms of its authenticity. It can never be challenged. So it really is just a way of accounting and record keeping for something that can be a digital asset, or even a physical asset. It becomes a proof of ownership over that as well.
Interesting. Okay, so from both Andrew and Stas, digital passport, I've heard a couple of buzzwords over here, but in my understanding, everything digital can be replicated, right? And how is this actually become an asset? And how is this actually, we can, integrate to the financial structure? Maybe Andrew or Stas could explain a bit about this digital replicate and how this becomes a digital asset.
You're right. Anything digital can be replicated, and it will be replicated. For example, in the title slide for this spotlight, we had 2 NFTs, one of which I think Andrew actually owns, but or at least from that collection. Right. The other one I don't own, and you're a duck, so you don't own that either.
Right.
We can copy that and we can use that, maybe with some kind of rights issues, but only through an NFT can you prove that someone has ownership over it. So if someone came to me and said, "Do you really own that the OK Bear in your picture?" I could say yes, but I wouldn't be able to prove it because there's no receipt, there's no certificate that proves the authentic identity of that specific picture. So then the ownership over that initial base NFT will only be held by one specific person in that world. And that specific person could commercialize it as well. They could license it out. They could take it to the movies. They could lend it to magazines and things like that and get licensing fees for that because they become the rights owner. And that rights can be shared as well. It can be shared with the initial artist, the person who mints it in the first place, depending on the smart contract. Smart contracts are very customizable. It might be split with a third-party agency, for example, a resale agency and things like that.
Right.
But ultimately, that person becomes the sole owner and has the responsibility for kind of keeping it and what they will with.
Yeah. Andrew, you want to add some color to Stas' statement?
Yep. So, as Stas already mentioned, so yeah, it's kind of if you take it into a traditional or like what we call not the digital world, just a quick example will probably be like, why would someone buy a Rolex when you can buy a fake Rolex, right? I mean, the bootleggers are all down there. But at the end of the day, it doesn't. You kind of can fake people, but you cannot fake yourself for having something tangible. Like, so all these NFTs are actually built on communities, right? So if you don't actually own the token, you don't have the access to those tokens benefit in the communities per se. So I mean, the easiest probably example would be like the biggest one, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, like they held festivals around the year, once every year. You need to actually own the token as a receipt to actually enjoy those benefits. So yes, you can tell people like, hey, I own a Bored Ape, but you cannot actually be participating in the community events and whatnot. So I think it's kind of an acceptance in a way to a community, like how you kind of want to be accepted into the luxury segment of our social life by owning a Rolex per se. Right.
Okay. So we talk about how to create, and then maybe any types, what are the types of NFT or where to buy? Maybe you can explain a bit on how the process, like, okay, I want to create NFT and I'm going to sell it. And then maybe Andrew could share a bit on you're in Frontera. What is Frontera? Frontera is more NFT gaming, right?
Yeah. So I think NFT itself, there's a few implementation to it. So if you are a project owner, you typically, of course, as everybody does, is like you survey what kind of community are you gonna attract, what kind of target market that you're gonna attract. So let's just talk about the biggest two ecosystem and layer one that is providing the NFT. For Ethereum and Solana, right? So basically, where the Ethereum projects launch on Ethereum is mostly targeting more of those what we call whales. They are willing to spend more. They are willing to just spend the gas fee on it. They kind of think that it's more secure and whatnot, right? So as for Solana, it's fast, it's cheaper. So the project that's coming out of Solana is like I can just launch it and let's see how it goes, So it's not as heavy as an investment to an Ethereum one. So we can see all these kind of different one. And then for gaming NFTs like Frontera itself, we launch on Binance Smart Chain. It's because the community of play to earn is there. So at the end of the day, when we want to create an NFT project, when we want to try to sell an NFT, we do have to know what kind of community do we want to attract first. So do your market research, do your market studies before you even go there. And as far as creating a profile picture collection, it's much easier than creating a play to earn NFT ecosystem. So it's a two different things. So if you just want to create a profile picture project, you could say, I could get it done in, let's say, 10, 15 minutes. I do a random generation of all my pictures, and I just lock it into the NFT chain on Ethereum or Solana, and I can sell it as long as I market it well. People will receive it well, and people will see value in it. At the end of the day, people value something based on what the acceptance of that asset or that value by the other communities, right?
Other community. Okay. Yeah, Stas, do you wanna add to Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, that was a detailed answer. I've never created my own NFTs. And to be honest, the only NFTs I've ever bought are Andrew's NFTs, Frontera. So I'm definitely not an NFT mogul. So I guess my expertise is more on the non-selling side of NFTs, how NFTs can be used by governments and businesses, various organizations. So I guess we can come to that later.
All right. So before we proceed to the next questions, I would like to take questions from the on the chat box. Are we ready? Or yeah. All right. So there's question from Reki. What companies or brands do you feel are best embracing the metaverse and NFTs? And can you give mention the brand? Maybe this is for Andrew.
Okay, so I would like to say it's Frontera, but I think we are working towards there. So I don't think that we're the biggest yet, but we are getting there. We are developing. We are really trying to put up a great project out there. So as for myself, this is my own opinion, not any financial advice. So the ones that is probably the closest, I would say, the Yuga Labs, the other side. They are extremely well funded. They are extremely creative minds out there. The metaverse that they are creating, I think, is on another level. And it just proves that an ownership of metaverse land plot and those NFTs that can access that place. You should totally go see on YouTube on how well versed their metaverse is.
Right. Stas, maybe you have some brands in your mind that you can actually that pop up actually this brand is really well implemented.
Straight away I thought of I think it was Warner Music or Universal. I gotta be careful who I name because we have relationships with them. Not from a what's big perspective yet.
Right.
Perspective. But they did buy some NFTs, which they're using to kind of front a virtual band of sorts. And that's been done by a couple of companies. There's a company that's, they operate in China, but the office is based internationally, of course, where they're also doing kind of an NFT-based music collection. And they're going to create the world's first so-called NFT band. I don't know if there'll be meetings, but I thought that was quite interesting. So that really popped up straight away, but a lot of bands have commercialized it, especially in the music space. Coachella have commercialized it as well. But even others, pretty much everyone wanted to launch their own NFT collection. A lot of luxury brands wanted to do that. So the space was really, especially at its peak when it was really, really hyped, everyone just wanted to get in and launch their own collection.
That is really evolving. I mean, the utilities and the use cases, it's just gone very beyond, you know. So for Andrew and Stas over here, we're talking about the evolution, right? So looking at everything that what had happened from whatever the brands that we already mentioned and discussed. So what do you think the latest, like the recent development of the NFTs, aside from integrating to the metaverse, integrating to some digital first that we cannot even explain it anymore. I couldn't catch up. So Andrew and Stas, the question would be, what do you think the latest or recent development that you see on NFTs?
I'm sorry, you go first. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I mean,
Okay.
Friends didn't
Yeah.
say who to answer.
Yeah, it's okay.
It plays a scissors, paper, rock for it.
Yeah.
I think that NFTs kind of started off as an artwork only thing. Then it became a video / music thing. And the evolution is really beyond ownership of a digital creative piece of art to something with utility and benefits, and specifically different use cases. So just owning something isn't necessarily enough anymore. Andrew mentioned this kind of a way of entry into a community. And before it was a way of entry into an exclusive community where you can just chat with people. But now it's really combining the real world and the digital world into one. So, for example, with the collection that my music group is launching, and people who get those NFTs will be able to get free tickets. They'll be able to fly around the world with us. They'll be able to get sneak peeks into music and things like that. So it's really about connecting what's the real world with something that's digital, because then NFTs become truly tangible. And you kind of probed that previously, Fran, where can something digital be easily replicated? So by layering that and giving experiences or something that they can also hold on to or to see in real life, I think that's where a lot of the NFTs are moving towards now. People just want more. It's not enough to just have a very high artwork collection anymore.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. What about Andrew?
Yeah. So the evolution, right? So yeah, we can see as when like Stas mentioned when it first started, it's just profile picture for the fun of it and stuff like that. But right now we see so much offline event is actually doing in the form of NFT. If you're talking about even the World Cup, you will see quite a bit of team actually releasing NFT. Like the Brazil team is actually releasing an NFT. Argentina is releasing an NFT. So everyone is trying to find the use case and utility in the Web 2 from Web 3, right? Because that's where you can actually kind of put it this way, like NFT is the fastest acceptance of blockchain utility per se. It's been only about almost 1.5 years or so when NFT suddenly caught on this bull market in the NFT run, right? And we see more and more development of even NFT device, like things like DAO disappearing up, whereby a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, is actually managing on how NFT should be collateralized. So like I mentioned previously before, you can actually collateral an NFT, like what other people will call it just a profile picture, but you can actually borrow against it, right? Even though it's high risk, but it's something we are working towards there. That's the evolution that we are taking. Even NFTs now are actually doing offering what offline banks are doing, right? So borrowing collaterals and lending and as whatnot. So yeah, that's the evolution that you can. I do believe that we can slowly see the evolution of that. Even you can earn by running, you can earn by sleeping, play to earn, play to sleep, sleep to earn. There's so many.
Yeah.
You can even sleep to earn now. I mean, you will not be able to do this without the NFTs, right? So we can see slowly that's the evolution. You might never know, like in the next time in the future, in the short future, every part of our life is ingrained in NFT. We will never know, right?
Yeah. Sleep to earn. S2E. I love that. All right. So, all right. Can we take another questions from the audience? Yeah. So, all right. So, can we create NFT to push it on metaverse? I think Andrew already explained that, right? Or not yet? Yeah. So, can we create NFT?
I would just add that. I would add to that a little bit, because the metaverse is ultimately it's a concept. It's an end destination for we want to go to this one internet experience, one digital world, like Ready Player One, where everything just connects with each other and lives as one. We aren't there yet. But what I guess the user is trying to say, how do we push it to a metaverse-like gaming platform? And that's ultimately based on the developers. If they support your NFTs to be used, for example, as a character or as an avatar or a profile picture, something like that. So it's ultimately based on each individual use case right now. But in the future, I do think NFTs will be our character across all of those experiences, across whichever game or social experience we go online within this metaverse.
All right. So probably this is also belong to Stas. How can we create how can we sell our music through NFT? This is probably more for Stas.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a bit tricky. I mean, there's no problem uploading a song or something, and let's say I create a song, I could create 1,000 units of it, and transfer my rights and ownership over that, and put it on any NFT platform that supports an audio format or embed it in a music video and sell it that way. But the key question is, how much rights do the people usually have? And that really depends on each individual use case, because there are cases where you give your master record rights, which means pretty much anytime anyone wants to use that song in the future or get any royalties from it, would go back into the user. So it's possible, but it's not quite elegant and interlinked, because it still combines the old world system of fiat-based royalty payments with this digital blockchain-based system. But it's been done quite successfully by various artists.
Okay. So Andrew, you have any additional statement about how can we sell NFT through music?
Yeah. So I think the easiest to look for was actually Snoop Dogg. He did release parts and parcels of his unused tunes on OpenSea. So what he gave is that, hey, I'm selling all this. He experienced with a lot of tunes and songs like that, right? So the tune of it, the song of it, and the recording of it, it says on his NFT. If you actually own the NFT and if you actually purchase this NFT, you can actually use it in your own songs, like as part of the song. You get what I mean? So you will not kind of say like Stas mentioned, like if it's a whole song, it'll probably harder. But if like it's a tiny piece of the songs, like just certain beats to it, a certain tune to it, you can actually integrate that to your own songs, and you can make a whole song out of it, where you can actually sell it to recording studio, or if you're a music composer. I do have a friend he's a brilliant music composer who actually take tunes from other people and combine it into one. That's what his talent is. So we are getting there, but the bits and pieces and the journey, like so-called the puzzle, is all there just for the world and the community to figure out how we get to there. But we will eventually get there.
It's really interesting. So we're talking about the evolutions and also adoptions, and there is NFT this and NFT that. So from Stas and Andrew, from your different perspective and sector or space, why do you think NFTs are important? Who's gonna take first? Maybe Stas. Why they are important? Why they are here to stay?
Well, they are, yeah. I think we've only scratched the surface, but I'll give you an example of a particular use case which people don't realize. Particularly in industries where counterfeits are linked to, and their linkage to identity can be quite detrimental, whether it's to public policy or governments or whatever it is. I think that's where NFTs are really going to shine in the future. And one such example is with education certificates. So, for example, in Singapore, there was this big crisis where they found out that a ton of education certificates were actually fake. Because of that, now there's a really expensive auditing process. So whenever you apply for an employment pass and you submit your education certificate, you have to go through an auditing agency, which takes weeks to contact your university to verify that you are who you are, you really went to that university. And this is insane. Like hundreds and hundreds of dollars are wasted on this for every single applicant, whether they're accepted or rejected. And a lot of time is wasted on this as well. So urgent applications aren't accepted. But if an NFT, if an NFT is tied to an education certificate and it's posted on the blockchain, all you have to do is provide the link to this particular NFT, and you'd be able to straight away know whether the university endorses this or not. And of course, there's no uniform university system for validation and verification. So all of a sudden, you have a global way of having true consensus that you are who you are, you went to that particular school, and it's going to save consumer money, it's going to save government's time and money as well in terms of verification. So I think that's a brilliant use case amongst many.
So you can't faking it. Okay. Andrew.
Yep. So NFTs are important in the way because it actually kind of proves that we can prove our digital ownership of something that is important to us. So I think various government bodies are actually exploring NFT for landits. Like I've read an article in Thailand, they are actually exploring that for landits for countries such as where I come from, like in Indonesia, where it's mostly we come from like paper, everything has to go with paper. There's not much internet back then, so everything on the retail estate is still on papers and stuff like that. So this NFT, the proof of ownership, can actually prove that you actually own that piece of land without any, what I would say, like interception from bad people, like where we come from, right? So that's where it kind of proves that NFT is important. And also luxury goods and luxury brands such as Tiffany's, Gucci, they are embracing NFT more than ever. And I read an article also whereby they would issue a authenticity of that certain item through the NFTs, right? So that way they can actually track where it's bought, who owns it, who is it authentic or not. So it will be unique in that way.
Yeah.
And NFTs also kind of help in financial world, I would like to say. So governments are actually exploring also like maybe bonds or collaterals or banking system trying to embrace the NFTs. I don't believe we get there very, very soon, but I don't think we should kind of eliminate the possibilities of a bigger financial institution and bigger government institution that adopts NFT technology as a whole.
That's very comprehensive explanation, Andrew. Thank you so much. All right. So can we take another question from the audience, or we can proceed to the next question? Okay. Right. So just now we're talking about, the evolution, adoption, and also, the development. Now we are going to discuss about the risk. From the risk perspective, so how do you foresee the pitfalls, Andrew and Stas? I don't know, as an investors or as a business players, when talk about the risk in NFTs, what basics that probably you see? Maybe start with Andrew or Stas, of course. Andrew, Stas.
Yeah, so the risk, right? The risk in NFTs, into everything, into every investment, into every things that you want to put marketing in investment and stuff like that, there is always a risk. There's no such thing as 100% of profit. So for NFT right now, I would like to say it's still quite a speculative market, because most of it is you have to entrust the community that you're joining. Like make sure that they keep seeing the value in it, make sure the team doesn't do a rug pull or whatnot. So I think that is the risk factor that you still have to take in. So for that's why we wanted to launch Frontera in also with backing of two of the most prominent companies that we don't start from zero, so we have a company's backing, we have their history, so that it's actually a more legitimate project, I would like to call it. So yeah, NFT, there's a lot of rough rules in there, but we do have to keep researching on what we want to invest in. And yeah, I think that's my answer to all of this. So you still need to do your own research for it, and there's still a huge speculative market. Where with speculative market is huge gains, right? So yeah.
Okay, good luck for Frontera project, by the way. Yeah, Stas, Stas, yeah. How do you foresee the pitfall? And then also how sustained is this sector?
Yeah, I think the sector, just because of its use cases, is incredibly sustainable. But the speculative market of it, I think I've given this answer previously in another interview or something like that. But there will be very few projects that survive over time, which is the same with digital currency projects. So it's kind of, you'll always have kind of your top 10 or so, and the rest will all kind of go around. And the same is kind of true for the NFT space. So my advice, and this is not investment advice, because I see them more if I buy an NFT, which I only got Pantera, as I said. But if I do, I would want to see the actual utility or use cases out of it. So for example, I would buy a Tomorrowland NFT, which gains me access to the Tomorrowland Festival. So in that case, if the resale value goes down, I've already kind of benefited and had some real value that I can quantify and be happy with. So it becomes like a ticket price in a way. So if you really like what this gives you in terms of community access, events or music listening tools, or participation in a game that you really like, then I would do it. It makes sense. But if it's just to gamble and be very speculative, I think we always need to be aware that there's a chance that it could really go to zero.
Nice, really looking forward. All right, so I think that's going to be last questions of the day in this episode. But before we close the session, any closing statement as an expert, Andrew and Stas? We know that this is moving too fast. We know that this is some can catch up, somebody not. There's a lot of buzzwords, but like it or not, it's happening. And probably you're living in NFT, right? So yeah, Andrew, Stas, last closing statement about the evolution of NFTs for the audience here.
Yeah. So from me, I think I would like to say, do not miss on it. I mean, take your time to actually learn, understand what NFT is all about. It's a huge kind of, we're just starting out here. So based on my own previous mistake, when I didn't care too much about NFT, when I could actually know about NFT before even NBA Top Shot and etc. Right? So I didn't kind of study it. I didn't want to understand it. So it's the same as Bitcoin. When it first come out, as people learn about it, they do not want to study about it. That's why you actually miss the technological growth and the growth of the value of Bitcoin itself. You could have gotten a Bored Ape Club at mint price at 0.3 ETH. At its highest is 150 ETH. There's a life-changing money, right? So do take time to actually understand what NFT is. Do take time to understand what the community does. Do take time to understand what actually the project is all about, wants to do. So after you understand it, take some time to actually enjoy the community, talk to the people there, and slowly build up your way to kind of understand more about what NFTs are all about. And then you will soon be led to, it's like a branching tree, then you will explore more about what NFTs can do, what kind of involvement is in the NFT space and whatnot. So my last probably recap of this, probably just do your own research and do not miss out on NFTs. That's my best advice.
Yeah. Very important. Yeah. So just to sum up for this episode about the evolution of NFTs, so non-fungible tokens are an evolution of the relatively simple concept of digital currencies. Modern finance systems consist of sophisticated trading and loan systems for different asset types. By enabling digital representation of physical assets, NFTs are a step forward in the reinvention of this infrastructure. And to be sure, the idea of digital representations of physical assets is not novel, nor is the use of unique identification. However, when these concepts are combined with the benefits of a temper-resistant blockchain of smart contracts, they become a potent force for change. That's all for tonight. Probably if you missed this episode and then you would like to ask us further more about NFTs, anything about blockchain, you can always head to our What's Pay YouTube. And see you in the next episode of What's Pay Spotlight. Stas, Andrew, thank you so much again for joining the stage tonight. And I hope I'll see you again in the next episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So I'm Francisca, What's Pay Spotlight, signing out. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Today is your special day, your anniversary. But somehow, she thinks that you don't seem excited. Sometimes things don't always go according to plan. You just need to keep the spark alive. Finding something special you love from your childhood can be like opening a memory jar. Very little is needed to make a happy life. What's Pay helps you to secure your happiness. Just by scanning the QR code, you can make a safe and secure transaction using digital currencies. It would take effort and compromise to maintain a happy relationship. With What's Pay, you can prepare for anything. Simplicity, security, and efficiency in your hand. When you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you know it's love when all you want is that person to be happy. Make every moment special with What's Pay.